Hey everybody, this is Chewy Plays Nintendo, and today I'm going to be covering more features that Animal Crossing fans want to see in Animal Crossing Switch. This week won't be as long as last week, but there are some nice things that people are hoping to see in the new game. So without further ado, here are 5 more features Animal Crossing fans would like to see. Catherine Thompson 98 says, "We should be able to send letters to friends online instead of having to visit their town to send one. And we should be able to send out letters in a bottle that'll end up in random players' towns around the world." So there are 2 callbacks going on here. The first is that in City Folk, back in the day on the Wii, we could actually send letters to our friends' places through the online features. In New Leaf, they kind of took that out, and you had to go over to their town in order to send letter, which it kind of just defeats the purpose of the whole thing. Like, you should be able to send letters from far away rather than having to go and visit the person and then send them a letter. At that rate, you might, I don't know, just send them a text or something. But yeah, it seems like they moved backwards with that feature, and it would be much better if you could just, I guess, I don't know, probably collect some sort of address book as people start visiting you, and then you can go to your mail, or your post office rather, and then just send letters out that way. It shouldn't be that hard to do. Hopefully they bring that back. The next thing she brings up is about the bottle and sending out letters through the ocean. So back in Wild World, we actually had this feature where you could write a letter, send it out, or put it in a bottle, and throw that out into the sea. And then random people would actually get your bottles. I think, actually, I don't know if it was random. It might have just been friends that you have played with online. I'll have to double check that at some point. But regardless, you could send bottles through the ocean, and that was pretty cool. It would be pretty cool to get a random bottle up on your shore and then be able to see somebody's secret message or whatever they wanted to send you. I don't know. It was pretty random, but I like that feature. I think it's a cool way to bring the world together, and I think it's something we need. Like, the Animal Crossing is kind of focused around that communication aspect, and it seems strange that they would take away kind of a lot of features that made it more, I guess, around that, more communicative. So yeah, I definitely think we should get that back. Masked Guitarist 96, I had trouble with this name, they said, "I'm really hoping they add multiplayer split screen with the ability to play more than one villager at a time with a friend." So this is something I brought up a while ago. I made a video about 5 features I wanted to see in Animal Crossing Switch before even the one I made recently. So actually, I think this was more of a predictions video. So I made predictions about what we're going to see in the new game, and one of them was they're going to take advantage of the split Joy-Con, or at least like being able to share the joy, and finally add that split screen multiplayer feature that just hasn't existed. Like, Animal Crossing population growing, the multiplayer kind of didn't really exist in that game. You had to put somebody else's memory card in your place, visit them via the train station, but they weren't there. You would just kind of visit their town without them being there, and I don't know, you could see all their stuff, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't until Wild World that we got multiplayer, and that was really dependent on everybody having their own DS, their own copy of the game, and that kind of followed suit throughout the series. But the Switch is a very new console with a lot more power and a lot more capabilities, and the big thing is that it has those Joy-Con, and you could just pass one to your friend, and they could start up their own file as well, or your siblings, your parents, I don't know, whoever you play with. It would just be really cool to be able to experience that town, because I remember my brother and a friend of mine, we all started a population growing town together, and every time it was like a fight about who got to play first, and because whoever got to play first got the first look at where the fossils were, got to do all of the things, got to shop first, so you really had an advantage going first in the game. And then the watcher was just like, "Oh, I saw this fossil, I hope they don't see it," and sometimes they would miss it, and then you'd come in. But regardless, it just caused a whole lot of fighting. which, I mean, it wasn't really bad fighting. It was just like a little argument to begin the game. But hopefully in this next one, people can just start up a file together and be playing at the same time and be like, oh, come with me over here. And, you know, do all the regular multiplayer things, more in that couch co-op setting, which I think Nintendo's a fan of that. So I don't see why they wouldn't go that way. But I don't know. It might be something that's hard to implement, but maybe one day. Maria Soledad says, I want to decorate a restaurant, office, school, hospital. In fact, I want a mix of Happy Home Designer and New Leaf. So that means a bigger main street that you can decorate your villagers' houses. That would be awesome, but maybe it's too much. So this is something I've been wondering how they would pull off, because I really do like Happy Home Designer, though yeah, it does get repetitive for people that they're doing the same thing over and over, but a lot of the ideas in that game were really good. Like, we got to decorate a huge main street in that. We had the school, the hospital as listed, and the restaurants and that sort of thing. We even had a music hall, which was one of my favorite things. I love music. But yeah, regardless, I think it'd be really cool to start implementing new types of buildings, new types of experiences that we can have, because right now New Leaf, the main town is just kind of revolved around shopping. There's a museum, which is more for like donating things, and you can visit and see some cool sights, but for the most part it's just a shopping center, you know? And there's not really anything, I guess, leisurely to the game, whereas like a restaurant would be really cool. Sure, you're going to be paying for food, but that's a little bit more leisurely than going over to the Nookling Junction and buying some tools and buying some furniture and that kind of thing. It's a little bit different. Even stuff like The Office would be pretty interesting to see. And this is all going to lead into the next comment, because I have some ways to connect the two. But Flair Pancake says, I'd love it if they did more things to make the villagers feel more lively. One way they could do this is by adding hobbies/jobs that the villagers could do. For example, a villager could be interested in woodworking. Maybe every once in a while you'd see that villager working on something and can ask to buy what they're working on. Perhaps it'll be a special set of items. Maybe every once in a while you'll talk to the villager and you'll be able to commission a project. I feel this could add a whole new dynamic to the game that would bring more life to the villagers. So this idea is kind of focused on the villagers being able to do a little bit more than they already do, which is essentially you only really see them walking around and you don't really see them interact too much with the world outside of that. Sure, you'll see them in shops and stuff and they'll mention that they're shopping, but you don't quite see them like check out or anything. But anyways, I want to kind of combine this with the idea of expanding that main street and having things like restaurants, offices, schools, hospitals, different places where villagers can work, essentially. Like, it'd be pretty cool. I know this was possible in Happy Home Designer, but you would put characters in those places that you just decorated, and they'd start playing roles based on what was there. So if you built the hospital, you would have characters pretend, like, I guess they're acting as nurses or doctors or, you know, any staff member there, or they're actually sick, you know, they're lying in bed, just trying to recover. But it was cool to see that game kind of implement kind of, I guess, new animations for the villagers that really showed that they understood where they were. And so, I don't know, I feel like adding a job system would be pretty cool, where they, you know, they don't really do much during the day. You don't really know how they're making a living. You don't really know what they're up to. And so it would be pretty interesting to see them actually take on different parts of the town and be like, oh, I was hired here and I work from 2 to 4 p.m. I don't know. It'd probably be like short little bursts, because I don't imagine they'll need to work the whole time. Like I said, Animal Crossing, it's pretty leisurely for the most part, but still, it'd be cool to see them in a setting that is outside of just the plain old walking around. The last feature that I want to talk about is from Caleb, and they say, I would love the addition of RVs. They're great in Pocket Camp, and they add more customization features to Animal Crossing Switch. OK Motors could be a new shop with Giovanni, Beppe, and Carlo. where they customize your vehicle and make it bigger and better. This could be the new transport into your new town and can be used to get to your friends' towns. There will be a designated section in everyone's and your town where the RV can be parked and others can look around. Possibly they could be used to go on a camping trip with friends when you speak to Harvey to set you up with a place for the night with a campfire, games, and other camping things. You could also sleep in a tent with a sleeping bag if you wish. Your RV will be packed outside your house in a designated spot. So I feel like they may have listened to some of my ideas before, because I really do like the idea of having an RV in this town. I think I've mentioned this before, probably more in the podcast, but often the experience of visiting somebody else is a very one-sided experience. Like, you say you're hosting people and they come and they get to enjoy your space, but you don't really get to get a taste of their personality or what they do. So you just kind of do your own thing in your own town, and there's nothing new. But if they came over in their own RV, you could at least visit their RVs and see how they were decorated and everything. And I don't know if this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think one of the best parts of Animal Crossing is having some debt to pay off. So Nook, he always hooks you up with a home. You always have to pay it off, and that's always like a big part of the game. That's one of the main goals that you have, and it's not really, I guess, required of you at any point, but it is something I think people always, I guess, tend to strive toward. And so getting another part of the Animal Crossing lifestyle that you have to pay off, like an RV, I think that just adds to how long you can spend playing this game. Because, I mean, the Switch is going to last a pretty long time, I believe, and we're going to need an Animal Crossing game that can last that lifespan of the Switch. So I don't know, I'm saying, like, you get a good 2 years of gameplay out of that with adding more different types of debt. So I don't know, I think it's something really cool. I think it'd be really cool to be able to share your RVs and have like another little space that you can essentially decorate and make your own, and also take that with you, give somebody that you're visiting something that they can enjoy while you're in their town enjoying their stuff. So yeah, anyways, some of these features may be unpopular. Some of these may not be what people are looking for. I know I saw a lot of comments from people on the last video that really don't want cooking. So if you'd like, please leave a comment about something you don't want to see in the next Animal Crossing game, because I think it'd be interesting to see how fans, I guess just how the fans are thinking about this new game, what they are really into, what they aren't into. So yeah, leave a comment about what you don't want to see. Maybe I'll do a video on that next week if enough of you kind of leave things like that, and I see enough of the same comment, I guess, that people are like, oh yeah, I really don't want this. But yeah, anyways, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and next time I guess we'll see what I'm doing. Bye.